Bear number 84, Chloe, was admitted on the 5th of May. We're now into 2008, excuse me. Not that many bears that came in 2007. And sadly, this was a little 4-month-old, 5.2-pound female that was found in a roadside ditch in a Flag Pond, Tennessee. And unfortunately, the little cub was diagnosed with hydrocephalus and had to be euthanized. We've had a few bears over the years with hydrocephalus, and it always results in being euthanized. And it seems like when they show up, it's usually about May or June. And I remember having a conversation with Dr. Ramsey earlier last year, and we were talking about bears with hydrocephalus and how it and that time of the year. And he said that sometimes that it's a few months in before that kind of thing shows up. And usually what happens is there's a little bear family, and you've got the one that just can't keep up, and mom finally has to move on because she likely had other cubs to take care of, and they have to keep moving for food. And so that happens sometimes to these sick little cubs. But you see the little pictures of her, very sweet little bear. And I have another picture to show you of her. And some of the characteristics that I thought you might be interested in from the notes were high stepping gait. These bears will, because the hydrocephalus is literally causing brain damage and pressure in the brain, so causing all sorts of problems. A dome-shaped head, they'll usually have a larger head, and that's one of the first things that you notice about them, and you realize it was said that she was non-visual. They believed her to be blind, did not respond to loud sounds, and when she tried to walk, she circled to the right. So when you get these little guys in that have hydrocephalus, you see all sorts of neurological issues, and it has always resulted in them being euthanized. So this was a sad little story about this little bear. And we learn a lot from caring from them. But so this was the second bear. We had the one we talked about, bear number 80, and then bear number 84. First bear to be admitted in 2008 as well, and died just a few weeks later. And this is, some of them don't live but a few days after that, and you can see that she lived quite a couple of weeks so before she had to be euthanized. But she just did not, no matter what they did, just did not get better. The next bears that came in were 5-month-old siblings that were orphaned in Louisiana after their mother was struck by lightning. At the time when they were first admitted, it was kind of funny going back and reading Lisa's notes in a newsletter from that time. Because initially they were little sister and big sister. They were believed to be two females. And Lisa had, I think, put that in a newsletter. And so I was reading one article where she said, I have to correct my original report. And she said, you know, good nutrition and a natural environment not only allow little bear bodies to grow, they also allow little bear parts to grow. And it was discovered that little sister was really little brother. So it was actually a male and a female. And she also talked about how that the little male would curl under his sister's body and stay close to her, and that she was obviously the protector of him. However, as they grew, those roles reversed, and the male actually became bigger and started behaving a little more like a male. And those roles reversed, and then he would look after his sister. They were placed with 2 Arkansas cubs that you'll learn about here in a moment, and they spent a lot of time in the treetops, wrestling and playing. The 4, and then there were 2 other Arkansas cubs, so there ended up being 6 in one enclosure. But little brother and big sister admitted at the end of May in 2008, and were released in November of that year back to Louisiana, weighing 89.8 pounds and 71.8 pounds for the female. And don't really know the difference in them in this picture here. It's 2 of the Louisiana and 2 of the Arkansas cubs, but it is one of the Louisiana cubs at release at the bottom. The next 2 bears that came in were orphaned in Arkansas after their mother was euthanized. And this was a male, bear 87 Alpha, and his sister Delta. They weighed 15 pounds each, and they were 5 months old. And as I said, they shared an enclosure with number 85 and number 86, little brother and big sister, the Louisiana cubs. Now, I believe in this picture, you could probably tell a difference because the 2 cubs in the background are a little larger. So those are probably the Arkansas cubs because in Lisa's newsletter, there was mention about the Arkansas cubs being much larger and the Louisiana cubs seem to be longer and leaner. So I think we could say that just speculate that the 2 cubs in the foreground are probably the Louisiana cubs and the 2 in the back are 87 and 88. The Arkansas cubs, but the 4 of them shared an enclosure together, and a lot of sounds like they were all rambunctious. Kind of reminds us of some that we've had here in the last couple of years. They loved being in trees, wrestling, playing, and were always up to some sort of mischief. But Alpha and Delta weighed 134 pounds and 104.4 pounds when they were released back to Arkansas. And the last 2 bears that came in 2008 were number 89 Gus and number 90 Hanna, admitted in August. They were 7-month-old cubs. They weighed about 30 pounds each, and they were orphaned in Arkansas when a citizen shot and killed their mother. It was said they thrived at ABR. They also were placed in the pen with the Louisiana and other Arkansas cubs. So there ended up being 6 in there. And again, Lisa's notes talked about them all spending a lot of time in the trees, playing together, coming down and foraging together. And they thrived while they were here at ABR and were returned to Arkansas weighing 101.4 pounds and 86.6 pounds. One of the things I want to talk to you about is how it said a citizen shot and killed their mother. And you think, well, how could that happen? Well, sometimes that happens because maybe a bear has gone on to property, done some damage, or maybe the citizen doesn't understand and is afraid of a bear and thinks they're dangerous and shoots them and kills them. But it's an important lesson of why we need to eliminate attractants to our property. If you don't want bears on your property, make sure that you don't have anything that attracts them there. Dog food, cat food, bird seed, or your trash. I remember at the Human Bear Conflict Workshop a few years ago, hearing about all those folks that work with grizzlies and polar bears and those things, and how that there were some organizations that helped them get electric fencing up around to protect their livestock and their chickens and those kinds of things. And I know of people even in our area who have to put up electric fencing around their gardens or things like that. So when you live in bear country, you have to take extra steps sometimes to protect your property if you have things that are going to attract them to your property. Don't know if that's the kind of thing that happened in this situation. We don't know. All we know is that their mother was killed and they were brought here, but they were successfully released back to Arkansas.